Roach didn't back down.
At all. At all. And did you see the size difference in the ring? Obviously, Roach being the bigger man, but
Roach came up. Roach normally fights at 130. He came up to 135.
ESPN analysts didn't hold back when discussing Gervonta Tank Davis's decision to turn down an immediate rematch with Lamont Roach.
Everybody's trying to protect that oath. Ain't nobody want to take no chances. Because they feel now if I take a chance, I lose. Ocho, my career. Bro, stop it.
And let's be honest, it's not doing his reputation any favors. Fans were expecting Davis to step back into the ring and erase any doubts about his dominance. But instead, his refusal to take the fight has sparked major controversy. Boxing fans know that championship-caliber fighters don't back down from challenges, and that's exactly why ESPN's Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe ripped into Davis. They argued that a true champion doesn't hesitate when given the chance to prove himself, especially when the rematch clause was already in place.
Give you my picks on 3 fights taking place Saturday night at the Barclays Center in New York City between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, Gary Russell versus Jose Valenzuela, and Sandor Martin versus Alberto Puello. Gervonta Davis uses knocks somebody out inside of 85 punches because he's clear.
Smith, never one to hold his tongue, went off on Davis, questioning his mentality and whether he's truly willing to test himself against top-tier opponents. Meanwhile, Sharpe added fuel to the fire, saying this move makes it look like Davis is avoiding an opponent who gave him trouble the first time. The message was clear. If Tank wants to be seen as an elite fighter, he needs to act like one. With the boxing community buzzing, fans are starting to ask some tough questions. Did Tank just dodge a fight that could have cemented his legacy? Is he playing it safe instead of proving he's the best? Davis himself hasn't given a clear explanation for declining the immediate rematch, and that silence is only making things worse.
Do you want that rematch next? And if so, how likely it is that we're to see that fight happen again this year?
I'm not sure, bro.
In boxing, perception matters just as much as performance. And right now, the perception is that Davis might not be as eager to take on Roach again as he should be. Meanwhile, Roach remains ready to go. When asked about the rematch, he made it clear that it was already part of the contract and that he expects the fight to happen soon. In my contract, an immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the rematch when I signed for the first fight, just in case I lost or it was a draw, Roach explained. He didn't mince words about what soon means to him either. When I say soon, I'm thinking a month. I'm thinking July. I'm thinking July for sure. So the ball is in Tank's court. Fans are waiting. Analysts are criticizing. And Roach is ready to fight. The only question left is, will Davis step up or let the doubt linger?
I'm definitely not sure. But hopefully we could get it before... Nah.
The highly anticipated matchup between Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach was supposed to be another showcase of Davis's dominance, a chance for him to remind the boxing world why he's considered one of the sport's most dangerous knockout artists. But instead, the fight took a different turn, leaving fans and analysts debating whether Davis truly lived up to expectations. From the opening bell, it was clear that Roach wasn't there just to survive. He was there to win. He applied relentless pressure, fought intelligently, and refused to let Davis dictate the pace. As the rounds progressed, Roach's confidence grew, and what was expected to be a one-sided affair turned into a razor-close battle. The defining moment of the fight came in the 9th round when, unexpectedly, Davis took a knee. For a fighter known for his toughness, it was a shocking sight. The explanation? Davis later claimed that hair grease from his opponent got into his eyes, temporarily blinding him and forcing him to kneel. That excuse immediately sparked controversy. Many fans and analysts weren't buying it, questioning whether Davis had simply buckled under pressure.
It caught while my eyes was burning. And you can get knocked out like that, so I'd rather take the knee than...
The referee's decision not to rule that a knockdown only added fuel to the fire. Should it have counted? Did Davis avoid an official knockdown with a convenient explanation? These debates have dominated the post-fight conversation. As expected, the ESPN analysts didn't hold back in their critique of Davis's performance. They weren't just disappointed with his in-ring showing. They were outright skeptical of his 9th round excuse and questioned whether he had come into the fight as focused as he should have been. Stephen A. Smith made his stance clear. In boxing, distractions can be costly. Champions must ensure they're fully prepared, both mentally and physically. Max Kellerman echoed that sentiment, focusing on the bigger picture. The incident raises questions about Davis's training regimen and attention to detail. Was he fully locked in? Did he underestimate Roach? You can't afford lapses at this level. Even Shannon Sharp, who has praised Davis in the past, was blunt in his assessment. I gotta stand down and give mad respect to Lamont Roach. The brother fought one hell of a fight. This was a damn close fight. Gervonta taking a knee should have been a knockdown. Either way, Roach has skills, fought his ass off, and deserves nothing but respect. He earned the boxing world's attention tonight. I thought he'd be too small. I was wrong. Before the fight, most analysts doubted Lamont Roach's chances against Gervonta, Tank Davis. One of the biggest concerns? His size.
You know, but I didn't really know that you can like get disqualified for all that, or like when you start counting, I'm like, what the hell? But I don't know.
Stephen A. Smith, one of ESPN's most vocal commentators, had made it clear he believed Roach was simply too small to handle a powerhouse like Davis. I think Roach is too small. That's my issue. I'm not questioning his skill set or anything like that, but size matters in this sport. Smith wasn't alone in this assessment. Many boxing insiders believed that while Roach had solid fundamentals, he lacked the physicality and punching power to keep Davis at bay. Former interim WBC lightweight champion Ryan Garcia echoed this sentiment, offering his prediction before the fight. I don't think Roach has the firepower to hold off Tank. I think he's got great skills, but he really has no chance. The general consensus among analysts and fans was that Davis would bulldoze Roach early, likely securing another highlight reel knockout within 5 to 8 rounds. Some believed Roach might have brief moments of success, but few expected him to truly test Davis over 12 rounds. But when the fight actually took place, the narrative shifted dramatically. Instead of crumbling under Davis's power, Roach executed a disciplined game plan. He used his footwork to control distance, his jab to disrupt Davis's rhythm, and his counterpunching to keep Tank from walking him down easily. Round after round, Roach held his own, landing sharp combinations and making Davis work harder than expected. By the time the controversial 9th round arrived, where Davis unexpectedly took a knee, many were questioning whether the pre-fight analysis had underestimated Roach's abilities. Even after the fight, some analysts admitted they had misjudged him. Stephen A. Smith, who initially dismissed Roach's chances, gave him credit for proving the doubters wrong. I gotta eat my words a little bit. Roach came to fight. He showed heart. He gave Davis more trouble than a lot of us expected. That's what boxing is about.
Hopefully, after I win, I can defend both. I want to unify, or, if we do a rematch, then we could do that.
The fight also raised questions about Davis's approach. Did he underestimate Roach? Did the hype surrounding Tank make analysts overlook Roach's technical ability? And most importantly, why isn't Davis in a rush to run it back? Now that the dust has settled, the pressure is mounting for Davis to prove this was just an off night rather than a sign of vulnerability. However, his unwillingness to commit to an immediate rematch is causing speculation. In a post-fight interview, Roach made it clear that he had already signed for a rematch clause before the first fight even happened. In my contract, an immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the rematch when I signed for the first fight, just in case I lost or it was a draw. So when you have a rematch clause, how long are we taking? It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. When pressed further on what soon meant, Roach responded, "When I say soon, I'm thinking a month. I'm thinking July. I'm thinking July for sure." Yet, despite this clear expectation, Davis is yet to give a definitive answer. The longer he delays, the more the whispers grow. Did he dodge a dangerous rematch? The Davis versus Roach fight was just one of the matchups taking place on a stacked night of boxing at the Barclays Center in New York. Other notable fights included Gary Russell versus Jose Valuel, a technical battle between two fighters looking to make a statement in the featherweight division. Sandor Martin versus Alberto Pelavan, a matchup that showcased elite footwork and counterpunching skill. Before the fights, analysts gave their picks, with most predicting Davis would get the job done.
It probably won't be this year.
Is that the one you want next?
It's definitely the one I want next, but it's not going to.
One breakdown stated, Davis usually knocks somebody out inside of 5 to 8 rounds just because he's clearly capable of that. But I see this as a fight where he's going to have to run him down, walk him down rather, and he's going to have to throw some punches before he ultimately catches him. That's how I view it. So I'm going to go with Davis on this one. But instead of a dominant knockout performance, the fight was far more competitive than expected, leaving many questioning if Davis's reign at the top is as secure as it once seemed. Lamont Roach Jr. isn't letting the controversy surrounding his fight with Gervonta Tank Davis die down anytime soon. After their majority draw at Brooklyn's Barclays Center on March 1st, Roach has been vocal about his belief that he should have walked away with the victory. The fight ended with one judge narrowly scoring it 115 to 113 in favor of Davis, while the other two scored it 114 to 114, resulting in a draw. While Davis retained his status as one of boxing's biggest stars, the result left fans, analysts, and even fellow fighters debating whether he truly deserved to escape with his undefeated record intact.
I actually I understood that statement because, hey, look, Steve Willis he didn't call it a knockdown. You take a knee like that.
Roach, determined to prove he belongs among the sport's elite, wasted no time calling for a rematch. I thought I pulled it out. I definitely thought I won, but we can run it back. One of the biggest talking points of the fight was the bizarre moment in the 9th round when Davis unexpectedly took a knee. The official explanation from Tank's corner was that hair grease got into his eyes, temporarily impairing his vision. However, referee Steve Willis chose not to rule a knockdown, which many believe influenced the final scoring of the fight. Roach and his team, along with a growing number of boxing experts, feel that the incident was pivotal. If it had been scored as a knockdown, it would have shifted the momentum entirely in Roach's favor. Instead, the moment has become a flashpoint in the ongoing debate about whether Davis received favorable treatment from the officials. Many expected Roach to struggle against Davis, who had a significant power advantage, but instead of being overwhelmed, Roach executed a near-perfect game plan, frustrating Davis with his movement, defensive skills, and volume punching. Roach didn't just survive. He thrived in moments where others had crumbled against Tank's relentless pressure. He made Davis miss, controlled the pace, and even found success in close-range exchanges, an area where Tank is usually dominant.
So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this and then call it a knockdown.
One analyst noted, a fighter from a lower division moved up and gave Tank Davis his toughest fight. Roach was beating him on the inside, making him miss, putting offense behind defense, and being more active. Obviously, Tank had the edge in power. The stats spoke to that. This was a version of Davis that many fans weren't used to seeing, one that looked uncertain at times, struggling to impose his usual dominance. Despite Roach's confidence that he won, Davis remains firm that he still believes he did enough to earn the victory. While some fighters in his position might try to move on to bigger paydays, Davis has acknowledged that the controversy surrounding the fight means a rematch is necessary. I'm thinking the rematch is going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. End of May. This puts the ball in Davis's court. If he's serious about cementing his legacy, he needs to erase all doubts and put on a performance that leaves no room for debate. Despite Lamont Roach Jr.'s persistent calls for a rematch, Gervonta Tank Davis appears to have other plans. While many expected an immediate rematch announcement following their controversial majority draw, Davis has hinted that he's looking elsewhere for his next opponent.
Got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? That is it. Lamont, please say that in the second fight. Any questions? You got any grease in your hair tonight, Tank? You got any grease?
When asked directly about a second fight with Roach, Davis remained vague, saying only, "You'll see in a minute," implying that an announcement about his next opponent is coming soon. This response has left fans and analysts wondering whether Davis is deliberately avoiding a rematch or if he simply has bigger plans in mind. Meanwhile, Roach has made it clear he isn't backing down. He remains vocal about his belief that the draw should have been overturned and that the 9th round controversy unfairly benefited Davis. "I'm not letting this slide. We have unfinished business, and I want that rematch." However, with Davis looking ahead and no official ruling to change the fight's result, Roach might have to take a different route to force a second bout, either by climbing the rankings or putting himself in a mandatory position for a rematch. With the rematch against Roach looking less likely, the question now is, who will Davis fight next? Several names have been floated as potential opponents. Some analysts believe Davis might pursue a blockbuster fight against another high-profile opponent to prove he's still at the top of the lightweight division. Others speculate that he could move up in weight, chasing bigger paydays and more significant legacy fights. Some potential opponents include Devin Haney. A fight with the undisputed lightweight champion would be a massive event, but Haney has already expressed interest in moving up in weight. Shakur Stevenson. A clash between two of boxing's most skilled fighters would generate major buzz, but Stevenson's defensive style might not be an ideal matchup for Davis at this stage of his career. Ryan Garcia rematch. Despite Davis's dominant win in their first fight, Garcia has been pushing for a rematch, and his star power could make this fight financially lucrative. Teofimo Lopez. A potential showdown at 140 pounds could give Davis the opportunity to prove himself in a higher weight class.
Greasing your hair tonight, Tank. Like, hey, bruh, be on that. Because here's the thing. He never hurt Roach. Roach just waited. And Roach was square.
Shocking revelation. Gervonta Davis has opened up about the possibility of walking away from boxing altogether. Despite being an undefeated champion and one of the sport's biggest attractions, Davis has expressed a growing desire to focus on his mental health and personal development. I want to do therapy. I want everything out of me, so I never think about fighting again. Davis elaborated on how boxing has shaped his identity, but not always in a positive way. He admitted that the sport has instilled in him an aggressive mentality, one that has served him well in the ring, but may not align with the life he wants to build outside of it. With 2 daughters to raise, Davis appears to be reconsidering the emotional toll that boxing has taken on him. This isn't the first time a high-profile fighter has spoken about mental health struggles. Boxers like Tyson Fury and Ryan Garcia have openly discussed their battles with anxiety and depression, emphasizing that mental well-being is just as important as physical conditioning. If Davis truly intends to step away, it could mark a major shift in boxing's landscape. The lightweight division is stacked with talent, but losing a star like Davis would undoubtedly leave a void in the sport. This decision marks a monumental shift for Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a fighter who has spent the past decade cementing his place among boxing's elite.
Turned up and turned sideways. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't think he had that. He was like, I'm like, oh my. And then he just sitting there like, you can't. I know what you're going to do.
At just 29 years old, Davis has built a reputation as one of the sport's most explosive and feared punchers. His highlight reel knockouts and undefeated record have made him a major attraction in boxing, with millions tuning in to watch his fights. But now, Davis finds himself at a crossroads, one that extends beyond the ring. For the first time, he's openly contemplating a future without boxing, acknowledging the emotional toll the sport has taken on him. His decision to step away isn't just about leaving a legacy in the ring. It's about redefining himself outside of it. That's why I don't want boxing anymore. I want to do therapy, but I feel like if I do therapy, I'll lose the fire that I have inside me. I want everything out of me, where I don't even think about fighting again. I don't even think about getting angry. You know what I mean? Because I have 2 girls, 2 daughters. I want to be much softer, more humble, and things like that. Davis's words reveal a struggle familiar to many athletes who have dedicated their lives to competition. The aggressive mindset that made him a champion now feels like a burden. The hunger, the fire, the killer instinct, it all served him well in the ring, but in his personal life, it's something he no longer wants to carry. His decision to prioritize therapy and emotional well-being is a rare and powerful statement in a sport often defined by toughness and resilience. Fighters are trained to suppress emotion, to fight through pain, to never back down. But Davis is choosing a different path, one that acknowledges that true strength isn't just about physical dominance, but also about inner peace. While Davis's personal journey is a major talking point, his most recent fight against Lamont Roach Jr. remains a hot topic of debate. The majority draw result was controversial, but nothing sparked more discussion than the 9th round incident where Davis took a knee. During that round, Davis suddenly dropped to one knee, claiming that hair grease had gotten into his eyes and impaired his vision. The moment was puzzling. Fighters rarely take voluntary knees, unless they are in significant trouble, but referee Steve Willis did not rule a knockdown, a decision that has since come under heavy scrutiny. Had the referee counted it as a knockdown, Roach would have won the round 10-8, which could have significantly impacted the final scorecards. Instead, Davis was allowed to continue without penalty, leading many fans and analysts to question whether the officiating influenced the outcome.
Because I've trained with you since we were kids. Tarver beat Roy, but he knew Roy since amateurs. Roy said he never liked fighting sparring partners.
The controversy has now caught the attention of the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, which is reviewing the incident. According to sources, technical issues prevented an immediate review during the fight, but the commission is now taking a closer look at whether the call should have been different. Adding to the tension, the World Boxing Association, WBA, has remained largely silent on the matter. With Davis holding their WBA lightweight title, some critics argue that the organization has an interest in protecting its champion. Others believe the commission should have stepped in immediately, rather than waiting until after the fight, to address the issue. As the investigation unfolds, one thing is clear: the controversy isn't going away anytime soon, and it only strengthens the argument that a rematch is necessary to settle the debate once and for all. With so much controversy surrounding the first fight, boxing fans and analysts alike are calling for an immediate rematch. Roach has been vocal about his desire to run it back, believing that the fight should have been his. "I'm not letting this slide. We have unfinished business, and I want that rematch." Despite Roach's demands, Davis has been noncommittal. Initially, he hinted at moving on from the fight, teasing that fans would see in a minute who his next opponent would be. However, with the NYSAC reviewing the 9th round controversy, pressure is mounting for Davis to face Roach again and put any doubts to rest.
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate.
Question now is, does Davis want this fight? On one hand, a rematch could allow him to silence critics, proving once and for all that he deserved the decision. On the other hand, if Davis is truly considering stepping away from boxing, he may not see the point in running it back. His recent comments about mental health and his future suggest that he may be done chasing titles and legacy-defining fights. Unlike many fighters who retire only to return later, Davis sounds like a man who genuinely wants to close this chapter of his life. If he does walk away, he will leave behind one of the most impressive careers in recent boxing history. Undefeated, a multiple division champion, and a pay-per-view star. But if he stays, he will have to make a decision. Does he give Roach the rematch the boxing world is demanding? Or does he move on to bigger fights? For now, everything remains uncertain. The world is waiting for Tank's next move. Will he fight? Will he retire? Or will this controversy force him back into the ring one last time? Only time will tell. Alright guys, for the best updates on boxing news, moments, events, and actions, subscribe to Knockout Updates and turn on notifications to never miss out on quality content, and check out our other videos. Until next time, peace out.